Okay, I think we'll kick it off. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar From Hidden Risks to Complete Control, Expanding Software and API Inventories from Modern Compliance and Visibility. During this webinar, we'll discuss a few areas: the SBOM limitations and challenges of the traditional SBOM. We'll talk about our new BOM overview with SBOM, SAS, and APIs, and how they really empower organizations across the software supply chain to identify, assess, and mitigate multiple risks. We'll talk about shadow SAS, APIs, shadow IT, protecting PII exposure, and unauthorized SAS incident flagging. My name is Boaz Barzel, and I'm leading the product enablement at Ox Security.
And my name is Raviv Vinik, and I'm a product manager at Ox Security.
We would like to start with something a little different. We are going to use role play and really enact a scenario between a role of a CISO and a VP of an R&D. I will play the CISO.
And I will play the role of VP R&D.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's begin.
Boaz, I heard in the news that there is a SISEN breach. I also received an email that we need to reset credentials. I don't even remember if we use SISENs in our company. But you know what? I told all my development teams that they need to check all the repos to verify everything. And in 1 or 2 days, I will have the answers and we'll figure out what to do.
Oh, 1 or 2 days. So you don't really need to ask your team about it, because I can show you right now, really in this dashboard, because we're using Ox, we have our SAS Bomb. And in the SAS Bomb, we have all the places that SISENS is listed.
Wow, that's awesome. It's very useful. I didn't know that we could use Ox to know so quickly that we are using SISENs. But tell me, how is Ox able to discover the usage of SISENs?
So we're doing from code, and here you can see the evidence of all the places that SISENS is connected from code.
Oh, wow. Till now, I knew what's an SBOM. Now I know about this SAS bomb. But I see here also in this screen, that you have something which is called API bomb. What's an API bomb?
Yes, an API bomb really provides an inventory of all the APIs that were discovered from your repositories.
Wow. So for SAS services, we can know the place of them in the repositories and in the code. We also have an API bomb. That's very useful. Now, tell me, what should we do about the SISEN breach?
Yeah, so first of all, as I was reading through the SISENS breach, we need to reset credentials and replace certificates. Next, we should also review the attack vectors that the attacker was using, and then look at secrets and active secrets in code and the Git posture. And of course, we can do everything with Ox.
Sounds like a good plan. Now, let's go back to reality. And I'm back to be Raviv, a product manager at Ox Security. And we will start by explaining about the BOM overview page. And I will share my screen right now. We right now see the BOM overview page. The BOM overview page is a page whose purpose is to provide high-level information about each of the BOMs: API BOM, SBOM, and SAS BOM. The BOM overview page also provides to the user a quick and easy way to navigate to each one of the full BOM pages by clicking the section name. And throughout this webinar, we will get to see each one of the full BOM pages. As you can see, we see here under each section name the number of APIs that are exposed by Ox under the API BOM section. Under the SBOM section name, we can see the number of libraries. And under the SAS BOM section name, we see the number of SAS services that were discovered by Ox. But you see this graphical information which is shown for each BOM, the graph that we have for each. Yeah. Let me explain to you about some of them, or maybe even most of them. Let's start with the SAS BOM. You can see here a pie chart that shows the distribution of the SAS services that were discovered by Ox. In the inner part of the pie chart, we see the SAS services categories. We see here AI, we see here logging, ticketing, and more. And per each category, we also see the actual SAS services that were discovered by Ox, such as for ticketing, we see here Jira, and we see here Monday.
That's very interesting. What is the bottom part?
The bottom part shows us the SAS services that were discovered most recently. And you can also see that for the other bombs, we also have cool charts as well. You can see that for the API bomb, we are also using a pie chart that shows the API distribution by languages and by frameworks. And I think the coolest graph that we have here is the bubble chart that we have for the SBOM issues. Boaz, would you like to take it from here?
Yes, of course. So as you can see, the bubble chart is shaped like an ox palm, and this is intentional. And what you can understand from here is that we've divided it into different categories, from packages that have vulnerabilities, packages that are not used in code, and you should probably remove those, unpopular packages that people are either not maintaining or not using, and of course, unapproved licenses, which is really important from a compliance standpoint. And if I would go and click one of those sections, for example, let me take you to the ones that have vulnerabilities. So what we see is when we follow to the SBOM page, you can see the filter on the left, and here you can see all packages that are in your code and applications, the licenses, and if there are those that have, let's take those that have deprecated licenses, deprecated packages, which means that the license here is correct, but the package itself is not maintained anymore. Now, if I will click, for example, on the Express file upload, the drawer will open. The problem with that is if I'll go to the NPM manager site, I'll see it's deprecated. And the problem is that I have critical CVEs in that package that nobody's going to fix. So the solution here is a different solution because those vulnerabilities, I'll have to find another package to use, maybe a different package or some sort of another branch of that package to use. So the SBOM provides me that. I can search. For example, we had the xzutil issue, and let me clear the filters, and it immediately showed me xz packages, and in this case, the vulnerable package that was discussed, if it exists in code, the version, if I had licensing issues, the source of it, the application. So all that information can also be exported based on the entire org through Cyclone DX or CSV, or using our filter. So as we create and save filters, it allows us to export it and to tie it based on compliance or regulatory aspects. We'll go back to the SBOM, and I'll let Raviv to explain more.
Sure. So Boaz, let's now have a closer look on API Bomb. And I will navigate to the API Bomb page from the Bomb overview. I just click the section name, and I'm being navigated to the API Bomb. The API Bomb is a page whose purpose is to provide the inventory of all the APIs that were discovered in the organization in the repositories. Ox discovered the APIs in two ways, either by the code in the repositories or by the open API Swagger files in the repositories. As you can see, in the API Bomb page, we see a list of API endpoints. For each one, we see details such as the endpoint name, the HTTP method, when was the endpoint discovered first seen, how it was discovered, which is the source. It can be either by code, like we see here, or by OpenAPI. And I can even click and see the API definition by clicking the link that you see in this modal. And we also see the repository in which each endpoint was discovered. And for endpoint that was discovered by code, like the one that we are looking at right now, we also see a function, one or more function. Those are the functions that are being executed upon the invocation of the endpoint. I can click the function, and I will be redirected to the place in the code in the repository that actually has this function. It's very useful when looking and investigating about APIs. And I think that the most interesting column that we have in this page, in my personal opinion, is the highest severity exposing issues. It shows a groups of severity of issues that are being exposed by each of the endpoints. I can click, for example, here we see 2 high, we see 1 low. we can go and open in the drawer the exposed issue statistic and see more breakdowns. And let's navigate and see those two issues. Okay, so we look at this endpoint, the snippet fixes, and we go and navigate to the issues page. We see those two, and I want Boaz to show you something very cool. I can go and look at each one of those issues, open its attack path. I will open it in a full page so we can all see it. And we can see that for this issue, those are the endpoints that are exposing it.
That's amazing.
And there are several. I can even click here +5. Second, let's click.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So for every API that has exposing an issue, we can provide that kind of graph.
Yes, exactly. So all those endpoints are here, and I can see per each one of them information about the framework. We see information about the function. We have also a call stack that shows us the path from the API definition via the handler function to the actual location of the issue in the code.
So it means that we can actually see the API that's exposing the issue and then follow that during kind of code hops and jumps all the way back to the original function.
Yeah, and exactly. And I would like to also to say that right now we are showing the attack path, just the APIs part. We will have this month a full webinar on the attack path that I will elaborate a lot more about the capabilities that the attack path gives.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that webinar.
Sure. So we'll navigate back to the BOM overview page. So we spoke about the SBOM, we spoke about API BOM. Last but not least is the SAS BOM.
So this is what we were seeing in the role play that we had. This is the screen we were looking at when we searched for license, right?
Exactly. So let's navigate to this page by clicking the section name. And the SAS BOM page is a page whose purpose is to provide inventory of the SAS services that were discovered in the repositories of the organization. We can see that for each SAS, the category that it belongs to, like messaging, AI, logging, the repo in which it was identified, and we also, when it was identified, very important, and also we see the evidence to how it was identified. You see those icons over here? Yes. Each one of them represent a type of evidence to finding in the code, like dependency, like import, like token secret. If we want, we can also see them all here in the drawer. The drawer will also show us all of them. We can either click to see it or we click see it here. I want to show you, Boaz, another thing that I can search based on the name of a SAS.
Let's do license.
Sure. License. Yeah. And we found here is license. It belongs to the SAS category of data analytics. This is the repository in which it was identified. And those are the evidence of finding it. I can see it here and also see it here in the drawer. Yeah. And of course, when it was identified.
Yeah, so basically, now that if I read about a breach on, let's say, some sort of a SAS, I can just connect aux, right? And then understand where that SAS is connected, and by that also understand my risk.
Exactly. And the information that you are being provided as part of the evidences helps you a lot to get the full visibility of it.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So we went over each of the BOMs, API BOM, SBOM, and SAS BOM. Boaz, what else would you like to share?
Well, this is very interesting, and I think one thing that I would like to know is, can I deploy that now? And the answer is yes. And really, this is what I want to show you. So what you see in the BOM overview screen is what we learned from code. And aux has an open PLG platform. That means that if you browse right now to aux.security, aux.security, and here you can, of course, book a demo and we do the entire guidance with you, but feel free to click login. Once you click login and you actually register to our platform, all you have to do, and I'll show it from the other screen, all you have to do, and you can do it through a first-time wizard, is connect your source control. And immediately, once you connect your source control, we'll start do all that scanning from code security secrets and SCA, SBOM, and IAC, but we'll also automatically build that SBOM, API bomb, and SAS bomb for you. So you can immediately start doing that. And really, one thing I would like to highlight in that scenario is that from a shadow API or shadow SAS perspective, we see a lot of cases where the visibility is something that we're critically missing, especially with new development project and understanding what developers are doing and how they're working, what is connected, especially with regulation and compliance. So it's more than just the SBOM. It's really what type of SaaS apps am I exposing my code to? For example, PII that is exposed through APIs, and I don't know about the API. I know that there is a PII, but I don't know it's exposed. So really, one of the greatest things that I see here is that this gives us the first of all the visibility, but also the ability to dive deeper into each one of those sections. Now, as we're kind of going along through this webinar, I'd like to invite you all as part of the participants to share your questions with us as we're going to answer those in the last few minutes of the webinar. One thing that I'd like to mention as we're kind of going and talking about the bomb, I'd like to go through the first dashboard. As we look at the dashboard here, it's just an understanding. So as you connect your source control, you can also connect your CI/CD registry in cloud, and we'll be able to do also a lot of other amazing things. One of them will be the attack path reachability that Raviv will have a webinar close by just to look at this. This is really, truly amazing. This is really unique to Ox, and I'll invite you all to watch. But in that sense, you will able to immediately understand the entire pipeline. So we call it the OPSEC data fabric, and it will immediately show all the different issues. Then we'll consolidate, aggregate, and reprioritize based on multiple factors from an attack, business environment perspective. We'll automatically map all the different applications. So as you can see, we're looking at all the different applications. We're providing each application with a business priority. We're doing tagging. We're doing a lot of other aspects to, like, for example, the actual app flow that will take into consideration as we're prioritizing issues. And the best thing about it, it's something that we call the evidence. Okay, so it's not that, let's take this issue, for example. Let's take this one. So it's not that just we're showing you, okay, this is a critical issue. It has a critical business priority. We're giving you all the different evidence. We're showing you this is the cloud deployed connector, for example. It's the cloud platform, the machine type, the instance. Okay, if there's public exploit available or community buzz or many other public exploits, if it processes PII as another example. So you can see all the different types of vulnerability, compliance aspects. We have multiple compliance aspects, and all this comes together. So on one hand, we have the BOM overview and everything around it. On the other hand, we can show it per issue or per application. You can scope it the way you want. You can create filters and save them. So eventually you understand what are the critical issues that you have to focus on right now. So let's look at kind of the Q&A. And I see we have a question here. Let me take a look at it. So the question really is around how the issue is exposed. How do we know that an issue is exposed through API? And you can explain more about it. Something that Raviv, you want to cover?
Sure. So let's go back, and we go back to the API BOM. I want to show you the same as I can access from the BOM overview. I can also access directly from here, so whatever feel more comfortable. And as mentioned, for APIs endpoints that were discovered by code, we are showing here the groups of severity of issues that are being exposed by the endpoint. And as I showed, we can even go and see you know what, let's do it once again. I think it was very cool at the previous time. Let's go open the exposed issues statistic. And here we can see statistic about the exposed issues, such as the category. It can be a code security, open source security, the severity of them, the issue owner of them, and the source tool. And let's again navigate to see a few of them. And we see here those 4 issues that are being exposed by the endpoint. And I will show again the attack path, and the attack path shows that the specific issue that I selected is being exposed not only by the one endpoint, by several. So we can see all of them here in a graphical way. We see here the issue name, and we see here the endpoints that are being exposing it. So it helps to get a full visibility of situation, like I'm showing here. And we have, I think, the nicest thing that we have, that for each endpoint that is exposing the issue, we have the call stack, the function call stack that can click and see the full path from the API definition via the handler function till the location of the issue in the code. Yeah.
That's very interesting. So in that case, I would also want to stay on this page for a second. I also want to show, so for every issue, it's not just we're showing that, we're also showing the intelligence, the detection and response, and the different severity factors. So one way that I would suggest to use it is really as a way to get the attention, both from management and also from the developers, to understand really why we say that something is critical and what's the criticality. You see this part, for example, it exposes an issue that has processing of PII and payment information. It's also critical for us. It shows us, for example, that in this case, the library that we're using and the information on that, and the case for this library is that it's not maintained, which means that even if we have vulnerabilities, we don't, or there's a bug in that library, there's no one to fix it. So one of the elements that sees here is that we need to replace that in that sense, and we can understand more about the different types of vulnerabilities, the compliance framework, as I said before, all the different frameworks and controls that are being breached by this issue. So it's not just exposed by API, it's actually more than just that, as you can see.
Actually, also here in the left side, we see, and let me zoom in a little bit, in the detected response, we see the actual committer, and we see when it was done and by whom. It's also very helpful to see the full picture of the issue.
And specifically for this issue, as a response, you can just open a PR directly from here, and once approved, it will appear. You can have, a Jira ticket. In this case, I would send a Jira ticket or a Slack message because we understand that the package is not maintained. Maybe they moved to a different branch, so we'll need to upgrade to this branch in that sense. So really, it is interesting. It is interesting.
Yeah, and of course, in this month we'll have also the webinar about the full attack path that will show a lot more about the capabilities of the attack path.
Oh, that's amazing! That's amazing, and I'm really looking forward to this one as well. There's another question that I see here that I'd like us to answer. So, is there a way to view a SaaS, connected SaaS per application? Because what we see here, through the SAS Bomb, is we click the SAS Bomb, we see all the different SaaS that are connected across the repos, all applications, but I have my own crown jewels and I want to learn about very specific applications. Is there a way to view that from an application standpoint?
Yeah. So one way is, of course, using a filter in this page, but there is another way, which is to do it directly from the application page. Would you like to elaborate about it?
Oh, yes, of course. So if we go to the active application page, through the active application page, one of the elements that you can see is that we have tags. Those tags can be added manually. They are learned automatically by the connected SaaS, by the type of, for example, PII information, if there's connections to different types of, let's say, Postgres SQL, or in this case, what you can see, you have Monday, Slack, Google Maps, and so on. So one way is really using the filters with the app tags. And then you can search for, let's take Jira as an example. You can search for Jira, And then we can search for either a specific application. So for example, you can either click here or continue go down, and here we have the application.
Yeah.
Where is it?
But in this specific case, we have two, but of
Yeah.
course you can refine more your search to make it more refined. But let me
Exactly.
show you another something called
Okay.
was. I can go to each one of those applications because both of them, Jira was detected on them. I will go and open some of the issues that are related to this application. Okay, it actually doesn't matter which one because eventually all the issues are issues that are belonging to this application. Let me take one of them. Let's open again the attack path.
Okay.
And the attack path has another element which also it shows the SAS services that were identified per this repo. So it's another way of getting the full picture of knowing everything that we need to know about this, about it. And we see here Jira, see?
Yeah.
And I can even click and I'm getting here all the evidence of how we identified Jira in this repository.
So this means that we're connecting really the issue
yeah,
through APIs and containers, and then putting all the SaaS
yeah,
services that's connected to that specific application and that issue.
And actually we are doing much more, but this will be covered in the attack path webinar. Stay tuned, we will hear a lot more about what the attack path can do in addition.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So really, we are close at the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, please write them down. We'll give it a second. Okay. So if you want to start by yourself, feel free, just go and browse to the Ox Security website and just click login. Let's go back for a second. So just browse to the Ox Security website, click login. You can connect your source control and start yourself. Feel free to book a demo with us and we can go through other different aspects that Ox can provide. And really, I'd like to thank Raviv who joined me, and to you, our audience, who've been participating in this webinar. I really hope this really created something, that we were able to create something that will give you higher value in your own operations.
It was a pleasure also for me. Thank you all for joining us. And thank you, Boaz, for having me.
Thank you. Fantastic. So thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.